Slashers are going on tour, everybody. We'll be in Orlando in October and we'll be in Texas sometime in the end of the year.
Sometime, yeah. Well, I
Like,
mean, we'll figure it out, but I mean, I'm excited for Spooky Empire this year because
The
looks like a lot of,
sequel.
yeah, looks like a lot of good people are going to be there. Plus, it's going to be at the Hyatt this time, so it's going to be
ooh.
fancy. They got
Lush.
a really nice pool. Doesn't matter. But speaking of Dick,
Lance.
very close in this one.
Oh, I
In fact,
know.
my favorite part of the movie is when he has to like show off his tattoo, and I'm like, especially when I first saw it back in 2004, and I was like,
I was
cousin.
like, that's the beginning of a dick vein. Fucking the pussy. I'm just kidding. So we're back with the next entry of the last of August, where we review a last entry of a franchise because this is the last month of the year. And also, apparently, Last of Us is a thing. So this entry we are reviewing
It's not the
Blade.
last month of the year, Mikey.
I'm sorry, the last month of summer.
Okay. I'm like, my
um,
God.
I have a headache. I'm on
Aw.
my period.
Mm.
Oh,
My car, I'm just kidding. But so we're all back from California. Finally, Lance decided to join reality and
sorry, guys.
answer his phone finally.
Mm.
By the way,
Oh my
one of the
God.
best purchases I got. What is it? It's from Little Cute Horror Creations. These guys are awesome. I hope
Like,
they actually make the mad balls of this. So next year, because I'm gonna probably try to go next year. I mean, it'll be fun, but I had a great time. On YouTube, you're only gonna be able to see this. So
before we get too far into it, what movie are we reviewing?
Okay, so today I know. We are doing Blade Trinity.
Whoop, whoop. Even though this is the Wesley Snipes show, we will probably be talking about Ryan Reynolds a bit because he just came out in Deadpool versus Wolverine. And skip ahead 30 seconds if you haven't seen it. I'll give you a second. Don't start with me, Lance.
it
I'm
was
still
like
mad about that bitch Shauna from Instagram.
no, I'm just saying is I mean 200 million dollar wise that it made in its first weekend. If you haven't seen this movie yet,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
And a
doing.
fourth
It's
of
like
that was probably from Joe from Much Ado About Nerding. But
yeah, probably.
because everybody love all the straight guys love these two men for some reason. But okay, in 1 second, I'm gonna spoil a very small detail from Wolverine versus whatever it's called. One Mississippi. Blade is in oh shit, Aid, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but I follow everybody on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, Blade makes an appearance.
and by everybody, Ryan Reynolds as well, and Hugh Jackman both posted pictures with Wesley Snipes. So I assumed, I
Yeah.
mean, he's Blade. So I'm like, oh,
No,
that's
no, no.
nice. Blade is there.
He's this character from Tu Wong Fu. Um,
I wish
Oh,
that would
even
have been
better.
amazing.
I know.
Please.
I do like this movie. So I will say that I do like this one a lot, but not because of it being a Blade movie, but because I think it is a lot of fun. But if you do that, does it really center on Blade? No. And so Blade wasn't even getting paid. Blade, Wesley Snipes.
Let's
From
be
what I
honest,
was,
everybody only knows him as Blade.
yeah. So the apparently the production was so troubled due to studio interference, and Wesley Snipes appeared to have some sort of mental breakdown. According to Patton Oswalt, that's what he was saying about poor Wesley. And so Snipes refused to speak to David S. Goyer and often would not come out of his trailer. Speaking of trailer, the girl from Two Guys and a Girl, her real name is Trailer. Isn't that
Wasn't she
sad?
on Monk
I
for a
don't
while?
know, but why the fuck would you do that? What is wrong with white people? Anyways, um, so yeah, like he would only respond to the name Blade, and if he communicated with anyone, it would be via posted notes. I'm like,
Nice.
I wish I could just do that at work because that would be brilliant.
Ryan Reynolds is on interviews when they even brought up Wesley Snipes, and he was like, "Yeah, let's just say it wasn't the nicest fun time. Either supposedly it was a the long game of a ruse by both of them. You know what I mean? I don't know, or maybe they became good friends later on afterwards or whatever. But like to have them come back in said movie, that's kind of that's pretty awesome. I mean, it just shows you, keep
Well,
it going long enough.
I think it's not a surprise if that's really how Wesley Snipe works. I kind of give him some grace because even though I joked about it earlier, he was in Tu Wong Fu, which back then was a big like
Oh yeah,
risk for all of those actors. He didn't have to do it. Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure back then reading the script, you probably don't really think it's probably going to go anywhere either. But so he has a sense of humor. He's not as, I don't know, he just seems like a curmudgeon type of person, which
Yeah.
there's curmudgeon type of people. And I know how to act around those people, but Ryan Reynolds seems like someone that likes to push buttons. And so I can see almost as if like, because let's say Ryan Reynolds is probably exactly who he shows us on screen. He's always the same person, except for Amityville Horror and Buried
Mhm.
where he had to play strictly straight roles, or serious, excuse me. Uh,
And Wesley Snipes was 36 when he played Blade for the first time. So,
which by the way,
haha,
banging
bringing it
soundtrack.
back.
I was kind of hoping they were gonna play the song again because I don't remember the
Yeah.
second one.
Well, okay, the second one stars Norman Reedus, and the second one's actually directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Hmm.
And in fact, they wanted him to come back and do the last one. However, Del Toro turned it down because he got his dream project to do Hellboy. So
Oh, nice.
That's
and the thing
cool.
is, as I wonder what kind of movie we would have gotten had Del Toro come back and did part three, because David S. Goyer had a huge issue. I mean, so we're dealing with Wesley Snipes. First of all, now he's older for Blade Trinity, right? Blade Trinity's in 2004, so now he's in his 40s. Now you have, Ryan Reynolds coming on, fine as fuck, young, like he was when he just started playing Blade, right? And everyone's focusing on the young people in the film. He's being cast aside, and he's also getting screwed on being paid for this film. There's a lot of issues with what he was supposed to be paid and the fact that he wasn't getting paid. And so I'm not like, I don't blame Wesley Snipes if all of those things are true. I really don't blame him. Yeah, because right here in 2005, Snipes sued. He actually sued New Line Cinema and David S. Goyer, claiming that the studio did not pay his full salary and that he was intentionally cut out of casting decisions and the filmmaking process, despite being one of the producers, because he is listed as a producer here,
Yeah.
and that his character's screen time is reduced in favor of co-stars Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel. So last night I actually watched the unrated, uncut version. So it is much longer than the theatrical version, and I do see a lot more of Wesley Snipes than I had in previous watches. So I'm wondering
Mm.
if they went back and put in a lot more things that got cut out. I didn't look that up, but that could be because like I feel like the action sequences were much longer than I remember them being. So I don't know how you guys felt.
Um, I'll be honest, this movie kind of seemed like one of those quick bucks that they wanted to make. It was just very Matrix heavy. I love the idea of Blade going up against Dracula. I think that's cool. I love when Buffy did it. I love when I forgot who else did it. But I like it, but it was very Matrix in the fighting style, and I didn't realize how many like stars are in it. Because besides Wesley Snipes, Jessica Biel, and Ryan Reynolds, you have
Yeah, Dominic Purcell as Drake or Dracula. Uh,
yeah.
let's talk about our national treasure, Miss Parker Posey, behind me here, because she's
Mhm.
the fucking star in this film. Fuck everyone else. But anyways.
Well, and then also Natasha Lyonne, which was like a fish out of water for me, and Patton Oswalt. Am I missing anybody else?
Oh no,
The
James
wrestler,
Remar and Triple H are in it.
Oh yeah,
Triple
Triple
H.
H is in it, which I thought it was Chris Jericho. Oops.
Well,
Um,
I mean,
not
about the same time frame too for those guys. So
same
you're
not
not
all
difference.
wrong.
wrestlers look the same. Chris
No,
Jericho's
no,
in
no. But I think,
Terrifier.
but I think they both like were starting acting at about the same time, trying
Mm.
to push like, I don't know if The Rock had already started doing something, or maybe it was after that. I guess.
I think it was before that, but we forget that wrestlers are actors. That is what they
Yeah,
do.
Yeah, that's
And
yeah.
what they're
so
already doing.
when
So
I
it would
yeah,
stand to reason.
when I sit there and I'm like, oh well, he's actually doing really good. I was like, oh well, duh. They act on in the ring. Like it's all like a
Yeah.
soap opera. But
Yeah. In fact, they're actually very impressed by how well he was doing, that they added more lines and a bigger expanded his role more than he would have had. So good
yeah,
for him.
yeah, he was good. I liked it. Um, but yeah, it was very early 2000s. I just
It suffered a lot of rewrites. They had different ideas of what they wanted to do. Del Toro had a different script if he was going to do it. And I think it was just, you're right. Like I honestly just think it was, we need to put this out. And I think they wanted to go more into the comic book aspects of it too, because this is actually the first of all three Blade films, the first one that starts off with the Marvel intro. Like, because back in the day when all the Marvel movies started coming out, I mean, the most prevalent in my memory would be Spider-Man. They would have that Marvel intro, and Blade technically it was way before Spider-Man, but and I know it's not the first movie about Marvel characters, obviously, but I think these are like I would say the Blade is like the first like one into like our generation, because I think
yeah.
they had ones in the 70s, Lance, if I can remember
I
correctly.
mean, they had like a lot of like nice. No, but they had a lot of TV movie type things. So they had like Thor and the Hulk, and they actually had like Lou Ferrigno's character, and they try to do like
Oh yeah,
movies
the
off of that.
Hulk.
And
Yeah, okay.
Swamp Thing technically is
Yeah, Swamp Thing
well, that's
had its
DC.
actual but it I mean, but movies like comic book movies in that time frame, like honestly, Blade is the Iron Man before Iron Man. Like and it's such a long time from that time. It's like getting a really good horror movie, like getting your Friday the 13th or your Halloween, and then having a really good hit, and then all of a sudden they have a fall off movie because not many people are still into it, and then it's almost like a lifetime before you see another superhero movie. I think
Right.
that's the sucky part for it was movies have this tendency to grab a comic relief guy. Like, you have the serious straight Blade role, you know what I mean, where he's very cinematic, he's very straightforward. And then they always it's the same thing with like when iRobot, where they had, Shia LaBeouf, and they brought his character in to be the comic relief for the certain parts or whatever. So, what's his name could keep playing like kind of like a very straight, solid role. And I think, unfortunately, I think Wesley saw that on the thing, and he's like, dude, this is not our movie. This is, you know what I mean? This, and F this guy, like he's coming in here making jokes. I mean, he's basically, like you said, he's playing Deadpool before he was playing Deadpool, with his little snide remarks and his things, and it's like, you can even see, like, I don't even think it was acting for Wesley Snipes when he would say the lines, and you just look at Blade's face, like,
Wesley Snipes was his own comic relief in the original one because he would do something really badass and he would, he's this, big hulking presence that's a vampire and like killing people, and he would just like have like a little one-liner slide out here and there. And so like
oh,
he
the
didn't
Schwarzenegger.
need, yeah, he didn't need his, that I don't know what you kind of comedy you call it, but it's funny because I love Ryan Reynolds,
Oh, same.
but I just saw Deadpool and whatever, and then I watched this movie shortly after, and I'm like, okay, that's enough of Ryan Reynolds. It's like
Yeah.
it's I mean it's the same comedy and he's funny and everything and he's very attractive, but to me it's the same note comedy, and so I'm like, okay, I get it. The little side comments, the little,
The reason I chose it was because I'm like, okay, Blade is great. I love part two as well. Part three is just a lot of fun because I think at that point I was, obsessed with Ryan Reynolds, obviously. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so hot in this movie. Why not? Because I mean, who wouldn't love him chained to the floor, like with no clothes on? Hello. But does it hold up? I think it's just fun. Like it's just a fun movie. There are moments where it can feel really scary, especially when they're talking about the final solution, the vampire final solution, and they have all the bodies hanging up in the warehouse. And like Mikey was saying, funniest funniest part of the movie, with Wesley Snipes, in my opinion, because the guy was like, they're gonna kill me. He's like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you.
yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus. So I mean, I think that I miss that about that because really there are just way too many characters in this film.
I felt
Still
that
90s.
Jessica Biel and Natasha Lyonne were strangely cast. Uh, I like Jessica Biel. I think she's a good actress. She did great in Texas Chainsaw Remake, but I just like I don't see her like this girl. If we're thinking about this time frame, should have been someone like an Eliza Dushku or like a Eva Mendes, Michelle Rodriguez, like someone that I actually believe could be doing this. Not the girl from
Mhm.
Seventh Heaven. But
Aw, that's why she did it, probably.
I know. But also
Well,
like
and she just did Chainsaw Massacre, so they were probably thinking, oh, maybe this is going to be her genre, right?
she wasn't really a badass in that either. She just ran.
Well,
Yeah.
she did saw his arm off.
What was the awkward moment where she's just like I get the whole like in the shower scene, but it just seemed just
Oh, they just wanted to show her
extra.
naked.
Yeah, like I was
That
just,
was that was for the trailer because I remember that part in the trailer. And I was like, why is
oh
she showing
really?
it? Yeah. But my favorite part of it all was there's two scenes that I wish the whole movie were more like, and that was when Dracula kills the people at the horror shop.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
that
So
was
he could definitely have done that to me.
hmm
And the
Anyway.
CGI on that was like pretty awesome, actually. I
yeah,
thought.
yeah. And then the end when he actually turns into Dracula and he's fighting Blade, like that was like I really liked that look because I like Dominic Purcell. I like that they chose someone who's a little like racially ambiguous. Like you don't really know his nationality because it kind of works for Dracula, because Romanian maybe question mark from what we
Yeah.
know. But his look needed work. The haircut, it's like I don't know about this fuckboy haircut, this Limp Bizkit buzz cut.
Well, it
Um,
was the time, though.
but that's the thing. He's not from our time. Which also goes into why I'm like, I don't know about these clothes. Like this is kind of okay just because it's so weird and flamboyant that sure. And also I don't when I think of Dracula, I don't really think of muscular. Um, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, well, because this is the thing. Like this was in his heyday during Prison Break, right? So he probably had that haircut because of Prison Break. But I don't think Dominic Purcell, the way his head is shaped, I've never really seen him with actual hair, like
Yeah.
longer hair, and I don't think he could pull it off just because of his stature. And if you've seen him now, like he's gained a lot of weight. I don't know if he's lost it since I've last. What was the last thing I saw him in? It
My
was Straw
vagina.
Dogs.
Oh,
Straw
he was in
Dogs,
that?
and yeah, he was the mentally challenged guy that they
Oh,
were.
no
Yeah.
wonder he hasn't worked since.
So I mean, it's just
It's like,
weird. It's
ooh.
Yeah.
weird seeing him like that, and then he was a little heavy. He's heavier, or whatever, but he doesn't really have much hair because, like, I mean, it's just the shape of his head. I don't think he really.
Well, he looks like an American soldier. And his look, his short hair, like it just that's just what works for him.
But wasn't they trying to
Um,
do the soldier type kind of play for that? Is that why they was kind of doing that? Like it's just because it was like because the whole like warrior against warrior, like they were trying to. I feel like eat into that where it was like somehow like he's been in this grave since the heyday where he had knights and stuff like that. Like maybe he didn't go like into the Renaissance era or any of those things. It made it seem like he was just like mentally stuck in the time frame of where he was this giant castle and that's where he stayed. He didn't end up going farther than that.
yeah, I think he would have looked better if they kept his like physical attributes and his hair. Don't put him in like flamboyant Lestat leather, shiny, feminine things because it's not gonna look good. It's gonna look
Yeah.
just as good as um what's his name? Wesley Snipes in Tu Wong Fu. But like it's you got to match the body. Like he could have been a really good Dracula. It could have been a better Dracula if they just matched him better with his look. But even though I kind of shat on it, it's not bad. It's fun. It's just, but it's like an action movie. It's kind of like I wanted Alien Covenant to have more of this type of lackadaisical type feeling to it. Sorry, I don't know why I turned. I don't know why I turned into Pearl there.
Lackadaisical.
But um, but yeah, I think it's good. Just could have been better.
Mm.
Hmm.
And I don't blame Wesley Snipes for saying "nah, dog" to the next one.